Welcome to this explainer. I am seriously so excited you're here. Today, we are cutting right through the noise and straight to the science of losing stubborn belly fat. No fluff, no impossible crash diets, just crisp, actionable, science-backed facts. We're going to take the latest medical insights and transform them into a blueprint to help you tackle what is honestly the most frustrating and dangerous fat on the human body. Okay, let's just dive right in.
All right, let's kick things off with a pretty sobering reality check from Dr. Powell. It sounds a little funny at first, right? But it hits the nail on the head regarding a critical danger. Because not all fat is created equal. And carrying weight right in your midsection, having that apple shape, well, that's a massive red flag for your long-term health. Section 1. The truth about belly fat. You know when you pinch your belly, what you're feeling there is mostly subcutaneous fat. That's just the fat resting right beneath your skin. But the real villain we're after is visceral fat. This is the deep, unseen fat that literally wraps itself around your vital organs, like your stomach, your liver, and your pancreas. And it's not just sitting there. It's highly active. It's constantly firing off inflammatory signals that drive serious chronic conditions like diabetes, fatty liver, and heart disease. This really explains the whole apple versus pear shape thing. If you have pear-shaped obesity, where your body stores fat primarily in the lower body and thighs, your overarching health risks are actually significantly lower. But in apple shape, that means your visceral fat stores are actively expanding. Just as a quick, practical rule of thumb from the medical community, your health risks absolutely skyrocket when a waistline goes over 35 inches for women or 40 inches for men. Moving right along to Section 2, the Nutritional Fat Loss Toolkit. Look, if you just drastically slash your calories, sure, you're going to lose weight, but you're also going to lose precious metabolically active muscle. What we actually want is body recomposition. We want to lose fat while building or at least maintaining our muscle. To pull this off, you need to calculate your basal metabolic rate, set a very slight calorie deficit, and aim for this ideal macro split: 40% carbohydrates, 30% protein, and 30% fats. Because muscle burns more calories at rest than fat does, you absolutely need that solid 30% block of protein to keep that metabolic engine running. So how do we practically fill those macro buckets every day? You want to build your meals around soluble fiber. Think legumes and oatmeal and high-quality protein. Why? Well, they digest super slowly, they keep your blood sugar totally stable, and they keep you remarkably full. On the flip side, you have to ruthlessly limit added sugars and alcohol. Liquid calories and added sugar offer zero nutrition, and they quite literally feed the expansion of visceral fat. Keep it crisp and simple. Prioritize the fiber and protein and ditch the sugar and booze. Now, if you want to accelerate those results, bring in the color. Carotenoids, which are the natural pigments that give veggies their vibrant colors, are basically your secret weapons here. Studies actually show that a diet rich in these foods can noticeably reduce visceral fat in just 8 weeks. 8 weeks! They neutralize cellular stress and physically flip a genetic switch in your body from store fat over to burn fat. And let's talk about what's in your cup. Try swapping out those sugary lattes for minimally processed green teas like matcha or sencha. They are absolutely loaded with these incredible compounds called catechins. Catechins work synergistically with the natural caffeine in green tea to boost your fat oxidation, meaning your nervous system is literally signaled to burn up more fat. Even cooler, they actually inhibit digestive enzymes, physically blocking a portion of the fat you just ate from being absorbed into your body in the first place. All right, Section 3, the exercise multiplier. Here is the ultimate breakdown, pulled from a massive meta-analysis of over 80 randomized controlled trials. If your main goal is to rapidly strip away visceral fat over the next few months, vigorous cardio or high-intensity interval training is, without a doubt, your absolute best weapon. But, and this is a big but, resistance training, like lifting weights, is entirely non-negotiable for the long term. You need it about 3 times a week just to maintain your muscle mass, which, remember, acts as the core engine for your whole metabolism. Now, I want you to really think about this number: 48%. It's actually kind of mind-blowing. Here's why. A landmark study found that participants reduced their visceral fat by nearly half. Yeah, 48% in just 2 months. And how much exercise did it actually take to do that? Just 2 45-minute moderate intensity cycling sessions a week at 75% of their VO2 peak capacity. That's it. And you want to know the most fascinating part? Their total body weight on the scale barely moved at all. The scale stayed the same, but their deadly organ fat absolutely plummeted, and their insulin sensitivity improved by a staggering 41%.
So you're probably wondering, okay, how do I know if I'm working out at the right intensity to actually get those kinds of results? Good news, you don't even need a fancy heart rate monitor. Just use the talk test. If you're hitting moderate intensity, you can still speak in full sentences, but you're going to sound noticeably winded. If you bump it up to vigorous intensity, you'll only be able to get a few words out before desperately needing to pause for a breath. Just find an activity you genuinely enjoy, cycling, running, dancing, whatever, and push yourself into those specific zones a few times a week. Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, Sleep, Stress, and Patience.
Look, you can literally eat all the spinach and drink all the green tea in the world, but if you're chronically stressed out, your body is just going to pump out a hormone called cortisol, and cortisol acts like a giant magnet, pulling fat directly to your midsection. On top of that, sleeping less than 5 hours a night completely ruins your metabolic progress and spikes your cravings for high-calorie junk food. And honestly, perhaps the biggest hidden trap of all, watching the scale every single day. Remember that cycling study we just talked about? They lost massive amounts of belly fat without the scale moving at all. If you obsess over the scale while your body's busy building muscle and shedding fat, you're just going to get discouraged and quit.
Let's set some totally realistic expectations here. Day 1 is just about setting your baseline. By week 4, your new routine starts to become a real habit. But you really need to wait until month 3 to start looking for visible physical changes in the mirror. Consistency absolutely beats perfection. Give yourself a full year of this and just trust the process.
You've got the exact science-backed blueprint now. You know how to eat, you know the power of catechins, and you understand the sheer necessity of vigorous cardio and getting good sleep. So really, the only question left for us is this. Are you going to let biology dictate your future, or are you going to choose just one habit today to rewrite your body recomposition story? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep pushing forward, and I'll catch you next time.